You won't hear grammar rules, vocabulary drills, or exam tricks here. What you're about to hear is something deeper, something that speaks to your heart, not your textbook. I'm not here as a teacher or an expert. I'm here as someone who knows exactly how it feels to sit in silence, wanting to speak, but feeling your heart race and your words disappear. I've been there. I know that moment when your mouth opens, but nothing comes out, when your thoughts run faster than your tongue, and your confidence melts into the floor. That's fear, not lack of knowledge, not bad English, just fear. Maybe you've studied English for years. You've watched lessons, memorized grammar, repeated phrases, listened to teachers, and maybe even passed exams. But when it's time to actually speak, when a real person looks at you and waits for your words, everything changes. Your palms sweat, your heartbeat quickens, your throat tightens. The words you practiced so perfectly in your head suddenly disappear. You freeze. And then a small voice in your mind whispers, "See? You can't do it. You're not good enough." That voice grows louder with every hesitation, every awkward silence, every nervous laugh. But here's the truth. That voice is not reality. It's fear pretending to protect you. Let me say something that might surprise you. You're not bad at English. You're not behind. You're not broken. You are simply scared. Scared to be wrong. Scared to sound strange. Scared that someone will laugh or judge you. And that fear, my friend, is far more powerful than any grammar mistake. Because fear doesn't just silence your words, it silences your identity. It makes you feel small, uncertain, and ashamed of something that should make you proud, your effort to connect, to grow, to learn. And here's what most people don't realize. You are not alone in this. Millions of English learners around the world wake up every day with the same fear. They know what they want to say, but their voices get trapped behind invisible walls. These are people who dream in English, think in English, even write in English. But when it comes to speaking, something inside them freezes. You might look at fluent speakers and think, they're different from me, but they're not. The only difference is that they learn to walk through fear, not away from it. I want you to imagine this for a moment. A small child learning to speak their first language. They don't worry about mistakes. They don't care if the sentence is perfect. They just speak, joyfully, fearlessly, naturally. Every wrong word becomes a step forward. Every attempt builds strength. But somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we start believing that mistakes are dangerous, that people will laugh if we're wrong, that speaking imperfectly means we've failed. That's when fear begins to control us. It hides behind perfectionism. It disguises itself as, "I need more time," or "I'll speak when I'm ready." But fear's favorite trick is to make you wait forever. You might believe that the reason you can't speak confidently is because you don't know enough grammar, or your vocabulary is too small, or your accent is too strong. But the truth is, confidence doesn't come from knowledge. It comes from courage. Grammar is useful, but it won't give you bravery. Vocabulary helps, but it won't erase fear. You could know every English word in the dictionary and still hesitate to speak. Why? Because speaking is not an academic skill. It's an emotional one. You're not fighting grammar. You're fighting fear. Let's take a moment to be honest. When you speak your native language, you don't think about grammar rules, do you? You don't plan every sentence. You just speak because you feel safe, But when you speak English, your body doesn't feel safe. Your brain sends danger signals. Be careful. You might make a mistake. That's why your mouth goes dry and your mind goes blank. It's not that you don't know the words. It's that fear shuts down the part of your brain that helps you access them. Fear tells your mind, don't risk it. But staying silent is a bigger risk, because silence steals your voice. So, what if we stopped fighting fear and started understanding it? What if we stopped saying, I'm bad at English, and started saying, I'm learning to speak through fear? That's the shift we'll make together. This isn't just a lesson about English, it's a journey about emotion, psychology, and the way your brain learns courage. Because the moment you make peace with fear, your words will come out freely. You'll stop thinking so much and start feeling more. You'll stop trying to be perfect and start being real. And that, my friend, is when fluency begins. In this journey, I'll show you how to transform fear into freedom, step by step. We'll talk about the emotional roots of fear, the science behind confidence, and daily habits that rewire your brain for courage. You'll learn how to feel safe while speaking, how to practice alone without judgment, how to train your mouth and your mind to work together. These aren't theories. They're real methods used by thousands of learners who went from silence to confidence, not by studying harder, but by changing how they feel inside. Before we move on, I want to make you a promise. This talk is not about perfection. It's not about sounding native. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about you, finding your real, natural, fearless voice. By the time you finish listening, you'll understand why fear isn't your enemy and how it can actually become your greatest teacher. You'll know how to replace self-doubt with calm strength. And you'll discover that the path to fluency is not paved with grammar books, but with bravery, repetition, and self-kindness. So, take a deep breath. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. You don't even need to speak perfectly. You just need to stay. Listen. Feel every word. Because everything that follows has one purpose: to help you speak English freely, confidently, and without fear. If you truly want to transform not just your English but your life, stay until the end. Don't skip a single moment. Every second is designed to help you understand yourself, your emotions, and your voice. Remember this: fear doesn't mean you're weak. Fear means you're growing. Every time your heart beats faster before you speak, it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of courage trying to rise. And today, we're going to set that courage free. This is where your new journey begins, not toward perfect English, but toward fearless English. Welcome to the start of your transformation. Step 1. Face your fear, don't fight it. Let's begin this journey with the most powerful step of all, facing your fear. Because you can't speak freely if you're still running away from what's holding you back. Most people try to fight their fear, to silence it, to pretend it's not there. But fear doesn't disappear when you ignore it. It grows in silence. It becomes stronger every time you hide from it. And one day, it becomes so big that even the smallest English conversation feels impossible. Think about it like this. Fear is like a shadow. The more you run from it, the larger it seems. But when you turn around and face it, you realize it's just a reflection of your own light, waiting to be understood. Let me tell you a small story. A few years ago, I met a young woman named Aya. She had studied English for almost 8 years. She could write essays, pass exams, and even understand English movies without subtitles. But every time someone spoke to her in English, she froze. Her heart would pound, her palms would sweat, and her mind would go completely blank. She used to tell me, "I don't know why this happens. I know the words. I know what to say, but my body doesn't listen." One day I asked her to stop studying for a week. No grammar, no vocabulary, just talk to herself for 5 minutes a day. But there was one rule. She had to start every session by saying her fear out loud. She stood in front of the mirror and said, "I'm afraid people will laugh at me. I'm scared my English sounds stupid. I feel embarrassed when I can't find the right word." She didn't try to be brave. She didn't hide her fear. She named it. The first time, she cried. The second time, her voice shook. But the third time, something changed. She started to smile. She said, "It's strange. The more I say it, the less power it has." That's when I told her the truth. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. And that's exactly what this step is about. Facing fear, not fighting it. Because fear isn't your enemy. It's a signal. It's your body's way of saying, "I don't feel safe yet." You don't need to destroy it. You just need to listen to it and then show it that you are safe. Maybe your fear sounds like this. I'm scared they'll judge my accent. I'm afraid people will think I'm stupid. I'm embarrassed when I can't find the right words. I'm nervous because I don't sound like a native speaker. Now listen closely. None of those are facts. They're feelings. They're stories your mind created to protect you from embarrassment or pain. Maybe someone laughed when you tried to speak English before. Maybe a teacher corrected you harshly. Maybe a friend teased your pronunciation. That memory stayed in your nervous system. Now, every time you try to speak, your brain remembers that pain and says, "Don't do it again. It's not safe." But here's the truth. You're not that scared child anymore. You're stronger now. You're learning again, this time with awareness, not shame. You can face the fear, look it in the eye, and say, "I see you, but I'm not afraid of you anymore." Let's do this together. Find a mirror. Yes, right now if you can. Look into your own eyes. Don't look away. Just breathe. Notice how you feel. Your heart might beat faster. That's okay. Fear lives in the body, but so does courage. They are two sides of the same energy. Now speak your fear out loud. Say it clearly. I'm afraid I'll make a mistake. I'm scared they'll laugh at me. I feel nervous when I speak. Say it again, louder this time. Feel the weight of those words leave your chest. Because fear grows in silence, but it dies in light. Now take a deep breath and say the next part, your truth. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm brave. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be present. Feel the difference? That's not just positive thinking. That's emotional rewiring. When you say your fear out loud, your brain begins to understand that you are no longer hiding. And the moment you stop hiding, fear starts losing control. Think of it like talking to a small child who's scared of the dark. You don't yell at the child. You don't say, "Stop being afraid." You turn on the light, hold their hand, and say, "See? There's nothing here to hurt you." That's what you must do with your fear. Bring it into the light. Speak to it with kindness. Show it that speaking English is not dangerous anymore. There's another story I'll never forget. A man named Raphael moved to another country for work. He avoided speaking English for months, afraid that his co-workers would laugh at his accent. One day, his boss asked him to give a short update in a meeting. Raphael's hands shook so badly that he dropped his notes. Everyone looked at him. His fear exploded, but he didn't run. He took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "Sorry, my English is nervous today." The room laughed, not at him, but with him. The tension broke. He finished his update perfectly. That day, he told me, the moment I admitted my fear, it disappeared. That's the secret. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means speaking even when fear is present. Because every time you face it, you teach your brain a new truth. I spoke, and nothing bad happened. That's how confidence grows, not through grammar drills, but through small acts of emotional bravery. I want you to try something powerful this week. Every morning, look in the mirror and say these words slowly. Today, I choose to speak, even if I'm afraid. Today, I choose to learn, not hide. Today, I choose courage over perfection. Say it again until you feel it, not just in your mouth, but in your heart. Because every time you speak those words, you're building a bridge between fear and freedom. You're teaching your nervous system that it's safe to express yourself. You're showing your inner self that mistakes don't mean danger, they mean growth. Let me be very clear, you will still feel fear sometimes. Even fluent speakers do. But the difference is, they know what to do with it. They don't hide it. They name it. They breathe through it. And they move forward anyway. That's what facing fear truly means, walking with it, not away from it. Remember this. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. If you hide from fear, it controls you. If you face it, it frees you. So today, start small. Say your fear out loud. Don't edit it. Don't cover it up. Just be honest. Because honesty opens the door that perfectionism keeps closed. Your journey to fearless English doesn't start with vocabulary lists or grammar books. It starts right here, with a single brave moment of truth. When you can look in the mirror, speak your fear, and still say, "I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm brave." That is the moment your transformation begins. Step 2. Build inner confidence through self-talk. Now that you've faced your fear, it's time to rebuild something stronger in its place. Inner confidence. And the most powerful way to do that is through something that might sound a little strange at first, talking to yourself. When you hear the phrase, "talk to yourself," you might picture someone mumbling alone or daydreaming out loud. Society teaches us that talking to ourselves is odd or even embarrassing. But science and experience say the opposite. Self-talk is not weird, it's wisdom. It's one of the most powerful psychological tools you have to change your emotions, your focus, and your confidence. The most successful athletes, actors, and speakers all use it. They talk to themselves before a performance, during moments of fear, and even after mistakes. They tell their minds what they want to believe before the world can tell them something different. So why does it work? Because the brain listens to your voice more than anyone else's. When you speak out loud, your voice becomes proof, evidence your brain can hear. Silent thoughts are easy to ignore or replace with doubt, but spoken words are physical. They vibrate through your body. They sound real. They teach your brain, "This is who I am." That's why self-talk isn't just practice, it's training for courage. Every English learner says, I want someone to practice with. They think progress depends on a teacher, a partner, or a native speaker. But here's the truth. Your best speaking partner has always been you. You're available 24 hours a day. You never interrupt. You never laugh at yourself. You never walk away. And most importantly, you're completely safe. Before you can speak English confidently with other people, you must feel safe hearing your own voice. So let's make self-talk simple. Start with your everyday life. Don't plan a big speech. Describe what's happening around you. This connects English to your reality, not your imagination. Try this tomorrow morning. When you wake up, say, "Good morning. I'm feeling a little sleepy, but I'm ready for today." While brushing your teeth, say, "I'm brushing my teeth. My day is beginning." While making coffee, say, "I'm making coffee. It smells good." When you step outside, say, "The weather is nice today. I can feel the sun." When you come home at night, say, "I did my best today. I'm proud of myself." That's it. No grammar lessons, no translation, just real sentences from your real life. The goal isn't perfection, it's connection. Connection between your voice and your confidence. The more you speak, the more your brain learns. English belongs to me. Here's why this simple act is so powerful. When you talk to yourself out loud, you activate multiple areas of your brain at once, the ones for thinking, speaking, and listening. You hear English, process English, and produce English all at the same time. It's like exercising 3 muscles together: your mouth, your mind, and your emotions. The result? Faster fluency, deeper comfort, and lower fear. Silent study doesn't do this. Only spoken practice does. That's why I always say, fluency begins inside you, not with others. Now, let's add something even more powerful: the mirror technique. Stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself as you speak. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might notice your expression, your accent, or your hesitation. That's normal. But remember, this isn't about judging yourself. It's about befriending your reflection. When you look into your own eyes while speaking English, you're building emotional safety. You're teaching your body, I can be seen and still be safe. Start small. Smile at yourself. Make gentle eye contact. Then say something simple like, "Hi, I'm learning English." Pause, breathe, and notice how it feels. You might feel shy at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. It's the same skill you'll use in real conversations: eye contact, presence, and calm expression. Mirror speaking turns your fear of being seen into confidence in being visible. You can turn any quiet moment into a practice moment. Walking to work? Describe what you see. There's a red car. The street is busy today. Cooking dinner? Narrate it. I'm cutting vegetables. I like this smell. Feeling tired? Acknowledge it kindly. I'm tired, but I'm proud that I'm still practicing. These tiny monologues might seem unimportant, but they build something huge: the habit of speaking without fear. Every time you speak to yourself, you send your brain a message. English is normal. Speaking is safe. I can do this. Here's a simple formula to make self-talk powerful. 1. Describe. 2. Feel. 3. Affirm. Describe what's happening. I'm sitting at my desk. Feel something about it. I feel calm and focused. Affirm your effort. I'm proud of myself for practicing. You can do this anywhere. The language doesn't have to be fancy. The goal is emotional repetition. training your heart to stay calm while your mouth moves. Because the more your emotions and words work together, the less fear controls you. Let's practice some emotional mini affirmations right now. Say them with me. I'm learning every day. My English doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. Every time I speak, I'm becoming more confident. I'm proud of myself for trying. I belong in English conversations. Don't just whisper them. Say them clearly. Feel each word. These affirmations may sound simple, but they change your inner dialogue. And your inner dialogue creates your outer reality. If the voice in your head is always negative, it will control your actions. But if the voice in your head becomes kind, supportive, and patient, your confidence will naturally rise. One learner once told me, "I feel silly talking to myself." I smiled and asked, "Do you feel silly when you think in English?" She said, "No." I replied, "Then you're already talking to yourself. You're just doing it silently." The only difference is that when you speak out loud, you train your mouth too. Silent thinking builds ideas. Out loud speaking builds fluency. The secret is consistency, not duration. 2 minutes of self-talk every day is more powerful than an hour once a week. Over time, your inner voice will change from "I can't speak English" to "I love speaking English." That transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, because your brain always believes the voice it hears most often. Make sure that voice is yours, and make sure it's kind. Fluency is not a race, it's a relationship between you and your voice. The more time you spend together, the more trust you build. And once you trust yourself, you won't fear other people's opinions. You'll stop thinking, "What if they laugh?" and start thinking, "It's okay. I can speak." So today, I want you to begin a simple ritual. Every morning or every night, stand in front of your mirror and speak to yourself for 2 minutes in English. Talk about your day, your goals, or your feelings. End by saying 3 affirmations. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm brave. Do it daily for 1 week. Watch how your confidence shifts. You'll begin to notice something powerful. The more you talk to yourself, the less afraid you are to talk to others. Because if you can be kind to your own voice, you'll never again be afraid of anyone else's. Remember, the journey to fluency doesn't start when you find the perfect speaking partner. It starts when you decide to be your own. You don't need permission to practice. You don't need to wait until you're ready. You only need to speak gently, honestly, and consistently. Your confidence begins the moment you start treating your own voice as a friend. Fluency begins inside you, not with others. Step 3. Create a safe zone for practice. Every English learner dreams of speaking confidently in front of others, in classrooms, meetings, interviews, or even casual conversations. But the truth is, confidence doesn't begin on a stage or in a group. It begins in a small, private, safe place, a space where you can make mistakes freely, where no one judges you, where you can experiment with your voice, your rhythm, your courage. That place is what I call your safe zone. It's a sacred space between you and your practice. Inside your safe zone, you're not performing for anyone. You're simply expressing yourself without fear of judgment. And that, my friend, is where real fluency starts to grow. You see, fear and safety cannot exist in the same room. When you feel judged, your body reacts as if it's in danger. This isn't just emotion, it's biology. Inside your brain, there's a small almond-shaped part called the amygdala. Its job is to keep you safe. Whenever you feel threatened, even socially, not physically, it sends a warning. Danger. Stop talking. That's why, even when you know the words, your mouth suddenly refuses to cooperate. Your voice shakes. Your mind goes blank. You might think you forgot English, but really, your body just went into self-defense mode. Speaking English in front of others feels risky because your brain hasn't yet learned that it's safe. And that's exactly what the safe zone is for, to retrain your brain to feel calm, comfortable, and secure while speaking. Before you can speak confidently in public, you must teach your brain that English isn't dangerous. You do this by building emotional safety through gentle, consistent, private practice. When your mind begins to associate speaking English with feelings of calm instead of fear, you start to reprogram your emotional response. You create a new pattern. When I speak English, I feel safe. And when you feel safe, fluency flows naturally. This is why your safe zone is not optional. It's essential. It's your emotional gym, your private training ground, your practice space where mistakes are not punished, but celebrated. So, how do you build your safe zone? You start by removing pressure. In this space, there are no rules, no grades, no teachers, and no deadlines. There is only you, your voice, your thoughts, your curiosity. You can practice anywhere. Your room, your kitchen, your car, your garden, or even your shower. The place doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling. Safety. When you know that nobody can interrupt or correct you, your brain begins to relax. And when your brain relaxes, your words start to flow. This is the golden rule of your safe zone. Practice without pressure. Now let's make this real. Here are a few simple, powerful ways to create your own safe zone practice. You can start with the easiest one. Talk to your pet, your dog, your cat, even your plants. They make perfect listeners. They never interrupt, they never laugh, they never judge. You could say, "Hey Max, I'm going to cook dinner now. How are you today? You're such a good boy." It may sound silly, but it's one of the most effective exercises. Because when you speak to something that cannot judge you, you allow your natural rhythm and emotion to emerge. You train your mouth, your tone, and your confidence in a pressure-free environment. If you don't have a pet, your next best friend is your voice recorder. Set a timer for 1 minute. Choose a simple topic like what I did today or my weekend plans. Press record and just talk. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Don't stop when you make a mistake. Keep going. When you finish, listen to your recording, not to criticize, but to celebrate. You'll notice 2 things. 1, your voice sounds better than you thought. And 2, you're already improving. Every time you record yourself, you build a stronger connection with your own voice. Over days and weeks, your confidence begins to expand from private to public, because you've proven to yourself that speaking is safe. Another beautiful safe zone activity is reading out loud. Pick something simple, a paragraph from a book, a quote from a blog, even a social media post. Read it slowly, clearly, with feeling. Reading aloud trains pronunciation, rhythm, and comfort. It's like giving your voice a gentle workout. You can do this every morning for just 5 minutes. Over time, your mouth becomes familiar with English sounds. Your breathing becomes steady, and your voice starts to sound natural, not forced. You stop hearing yourself as a learner and start hearing yourself as a communicator. You can write freely, think in English, correct yourself, or even role-play conversations. You can take what you'd say out loud and type it here first, then try speaking it after. It's like a warm-up for your real voice. The more you practice in a safe space, the less fear controls you in real life. If you have a child, a younger sibling, or even a friend who's just starting to learn English, try teaching them. It doesn't matter if you're not a native speaker. When you explain simple sentences like, "This is an apple," "The sky is blue," or "I love chocolate," you're actually reinforcing your own confidence. Teaching is the highest form of learning, and it makes you feel capable. You stop worrying about sounding perfect and start focusing on connection. And that feeling, connection, is what fluency is really made of. As you practice in your safe zone, remember a few important truths. You are not performing. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to rush. You don't even need perfect grammar. What you need is consistency, honesty, and self-compassion. The safe zone is not about speaking correctly. It's about feeling comfortable speaking at all. Every minute you spend practicing without fear is a minute spent reprogramming your mind to stay calm when you speak in public. If your fear of speaking is like a heavy weight, the safe zone is your gym, and each small practice is one gentle lift that builds emotional muscle. At first, you might still feel nervous when speaking outside, but over time, the calm you feel in private will follow you into the world. You'll walk into conversations and realize, this doesn't feel scary anymore. That's not luck. That's training. Never underestimate the power of your private moments. Many learners think growth happens only in classrooms or conversations with others, but the truth is, your biggest transformation happens when no one is watching. When you stand alone in your room, talking to your pet, reading to your mirror, or recording your voice, that's where your courage grows roots. That's where your voice learns to breathe freely. Because confidence isn't built in noise, it's built in silence. So, promise yourself this. From today, you will practice without pressure. You'll speak not to prove, but to express. You'll give yourself permission to make mistakes and keep going. Because every small, fearless moment in your safe zone prepares you for bigger, braver moments in the real world. Confidence grows in privacy before it shines in public. Step 4. The shadow practice. Train like a performer. There is a reason why some people sound so natural when they speak English. Their words flow easily, their rhythm feels smooth, and their confidence seems effortless. You listen to them and think, wow, how do they speak like that? The answer isn't magic. It's training. Specifically, a technique called shadowing, one of the most powerful ways to transform your speaking fluency from hesitant to natural. Shadowing is simple. Listen, repeat, loop. That's it. You listen to a sentence spoken by a fluent or native speaker, then immediately repeat it out loud, trying to match the sound, rhythm, and emotion as closely as possible. You do this again and again, like a shadow following the original speaker's voice. It's not about memorizing. It's about mimicking. It's not about perfection. It's about practice. And if you do it consistently, just 5 minutes a day, it will change your relationship with English completely. You see, language doesn't only live in your brain, it lives in your body, in your mouth, your tongue, your breath, your rhythm. When you only study grammar or vocabulary, you train your brain. But when you shadow, you train your body to feel English. You're not just learning words, you're learning movement, melody, and flow. This is how children learn to speak their first language, by listening, repeating, and copying sounds over and over until they become natural. Shadowing recreates that same process for you as an adult learner. Let's break it down. Imagine you play a short English clip, maybe from a podcast, a movie, or a motivational video. You listen carefully to one sentence. For example, "I'm proud of myself for learning English every day." You pause for a moment, then repeat it immediately. "I'm proud of myself for learning English every day." Try to match the rhythm. Notice how your mouth moves. Feel the emotion behind the sentence. Then play it again. Listen, repeat, loop, 5 times. Each repetition makes it smoother, easier, more automatic. By the 5th time, you're no longer thinking about grammar or pronunciation. You're just speaking. That's the magic of the shadow practice. It bypasses your thinking mind and trains your speaking reflex. In the beginning, it might feel awkward, maybe even frustrating. You might stumble on words or fall behind the audio. That's okay. You're not failing. You're rewiring your brain. You're building new neural pathways between listening and speaking, turning English from an academic subject into a living skill. Science proves this works. When you shadow, you engage 3 systems at once: your auditory system, listening, your motor system, speaking, and your emotional system, feeling. These 3 systems send signals to the brain saying, "This is normal, this is familiar." The more often you repeat, the faster your brain creates automatic fluency. This is the same process musicians use when they practice songs or actors when they rehearse their lines. Repetition isn't boring. It's brain training. Think of it like learning to dance. The first time you try a new move, you look awkward. You count the steps. You feel uncomfortable. But after a few rounds, your body starts to remember. You stop thinking. You start moving naturally. Shadowing does the same thing for your mouth. It teaches your tongue, lips, and vocal cords to dance in English rhythm, smooth, confident, and expressive. You can start with short, emotional sentences. These are easier to connect with. Here are a few examples you can use. "I'm getting better every single day. Mistakes help me grow stronger. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be brave. I love the sound of my English voice. English is my friend, not my fear." Play each sentence from any clear English source, a YouTube video, a movie clip, a speech, or even from your favorite English podcast. Listen once, repeat immediately, then loop it 5 times. Feel how the words roll off your tongue. Feel how your confidence grows with every round. This is not about sounding like someone else. It's about teaching your own voice to move freely, without hesitation. You can turn this into a daily habit. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before bed. That's enough. Choose one short clip per day, no longer than 10 seconds, and shadow it until you can say it naturally. It doesn't matter what accent you use or how fast you go. What matters is consistency. When you train every day, even for a few minutes, you'll start to notice something incredible. You'll begin to feel English instead of translating it. Your mouth will know what to do before your mind starts analyzing. Many learners tell me, "I can't think fast enough when I speak English." That's because they only practice thinking, not speaking. Shadowing fixes that. It turns slow, hesitant speech into automatic flow. You stop thinking about every word. Your brain hears a sound and your mouth responds instantly. That's what fluency really is. Not perfection, but automaticity. You can also record your shadow sessions to see your progress. On day 1, you might sound nervous or robotic. Your timing might feel off. But don't judge yourself. This is your foundation. Keep recording each day, just 1 minute per session. On day 10, listen to both recordings. You'll hear the difference. Your tone is smoother, your rhythm is clearer, your voice sounds stronger. That's proof of real transformation. It's not imaginary, it's audible, and it's one of the most motivating feelings in the world. If you want to make shadowing more fun, try using movie scenes or motivational quotes. Choose a line that inspires you emotionally. For example, from a movie, "I will not give up." From a speech, "Believe in yourself when no one else does." Repeat these lines with feeling. Use your hands, your face, your whole body. You're not just copying sound, you're expressing emotion. Because the goal of speaking is not just clarity, it's connection. When you connect emotion with words, your speech becomes powerful and authentic. And remember, shadowing is not about speed. Don't chase fast speakers. Start slow. Choose voices that are clear and natural. Once you're comfortable, increase the difficulty little by little, but never rush. Fluency doesn't come from speed. It comes from rhythm, confidence, and repetition. Whispering doesn't count either. You have to speak out loud. The sound of your voice matters. You have to hear yourself becoming fluent. Think of shadowing as a daily conversation between your old self and your new self. The old self is afraid of speaking, stuck in hesitation. The new self listens, repeats, and learns to flow. Every loop is a step closer to that new identity, the confident speaker you're becoming. So, here's your small daily goal. 5 minutes of shadowing every day for the next 10 days. Record your progress. Be patient. Be consistent. You'll notice that each day your voice feels more alive, your fear feels smaller, and your confidence feels real. Because fluency isn't built in a single breakthrough. It's built in quiet repetition, in small victories, in the courage to keep practicing even when no one is watching. Remember this: every great performer trains behind the curtain long before the applause begins. The stage is only the reflection of private effort. Your English journey is the same. You're not just learning to speak, you're learning to perform your truth. You're learning to express, to connect, to inspire. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't just study English. Shadow it. Feel it. Speak it. Let your voice follow the rhythm of the world around you. Because each time you shadow, you're not just copying sound, you're creating confidence. And if you keep looping those sounds, one day you'll realize something amazing. You're no longer the shadow, you're the speaker. You're the voice others will follow. Day 1, you feel nervous. Day 10, you feel confident. That's the power of the shadow practice. Step 5. Live the language, don't memorize it. Most English learners spend years memorizing grammar rules, vocabulary lists, textbook dialogues, exam answers. They repeat the same cycle: study, remember, forget, repeat. It feels productive, but deep down, it's frustrating. You memorize 100 new words one week, but when you try to speak, none of them come out. You study for hours, but when someone asks you a simple question, your mind goes blank. You think, I knew this yesterday. Why can't I say it now? The reason is simple. Memorizing is not living. When you memorize English, you store it in your short-term memory, temporary, fragile, easily lost. But when you live English, you store it in your identity, permanent, natural, and automatic. Think of it like learning to ride a bicycle. You can read books about balance, watch tutorials, and memorize the steps, but you'll never truly know how to ride until you actually get on the bike, fall a few times, and feel what balance means. The same is true for English. You can memorize every grammar rule, but until you feel English in real moments, it won't stay. Real fluency doesn't come from repetition on paper. It comes from repetition in life. When you memorize, you study English like a subject. When you internalize, you live it like a habit. Memorizing focuses on remembering. Internalizing focuses on experiencing. Memorizing makes you think, did I say that correctly? Internalizing makes you feel, this is just how I speak. And that difference changes everything. The most powerful way to internalize English is to use it during your real daily actions. Don't wait for a special study time. Turn your ordinary moments into English moments. When you wake up in the morning, say out loud, I'm waking up now. When you brush your teeth, say, I'm brushing my teeth. When you pour your coffee, say, I'm making coffee. These may sound simple, but that's exactly why they work, because they connect language to reality. You're teaching your brain that English belongs in your everyday life, not just in a classroom. Let's try it together. Imagine you're standing in front of your bathroom mirror. The water is running, the toothpaste is on the brush, and you say softly, I'm brushing my teeth. You hear the sound of your voice, you feel your hand moving, you smell the mint. Every sense is involved. This is what psychologists call multisensory learning. Your brain links language with action, sound, touch, and emotion, and that combination is what makes memory last forever. Here's another example. When you're cooking, say, I'm cutting vegetables, I'm boiling water, I'm hungry. When you're walking outside, say, I'm walking slowly, the weather feels nice, I like this breeze. When you go to bed, whisper, I'm going to sleep now. Today was a good day. These phrases may be short, but they are alive. They are real. They belong to your story. You can build what I call micro-routines. One simple phrase for each daily action. Every time you do that action, say the same phrase. After a few days, your mouth will say it automatically. You won't need to translate or think. It will just happen, like breathing. For example, when you drink water, I'm drinking water. When you open your phone, I'm checking my messages. When you go outside, I'm leaving home. When you come back, I'm home now. When you sit down, I'm sitting. When you eat, I'm eating now. These micro-routines might look small, but they're seeds of fluency. Every time you plant one, it grows into confidence. The secret to internalization is emotion. When you feel something, your brain remembers it longer. So don't just say the words mechanically. Feel them. When you say, I'm tired, actually notice your tiredness. When you say, I'm happy, smile. When you say, I'm proud of myself, breathe that pride in. Each emotion becomes glue for your memory. The more you connect feelings to words, the more deeply they stick. Let me tell you about a learner named Sana. She used to write pages of vocabulary lists every day. She memorized words like exhausted, delighted, frustrated, relieved. But when she tried to use them in real life, she forgot. So I asked her to stop memorizing and start living. The next time she felt tired after work, I told her to say, "I'm exhausted." When she laughed at a funny video, I told her to say, "I'm delighted." When she lost her keys, I said, "Now say, I'm frustrated." Within weeks, those words became part of her emotional language. She didn't have to remember them anymore. They lived inside her. That's internalization. You can do this too. The next time something happens in your day, no matter how small, describe it in English. If it rains, say, "It's raining again." If your friend calls, say, "I'm talking to my friend." If you spill coffee, say, "Oh no, I spilled it." These are not just words, they're memories. They're proof that English belongs to your life. The more you use English to describe your real world, the less it feels like a foreign language. It becomes your second voice. You stop switching between English mode and native mode. You start living in both naturally. And that's when fluency stops being something you chase and starts being something you are. Another way to live English is to connect it with things you love. If you love music, describe your favorite song in English. If you enjoy cooking, say each ingredient aloud while you cook. If you love journaling, write your thoughts in simple English sentences, not perfect grammar, just feelings. For example, I felt peaceful today. I miss my family. I learned something new. This emotional journaling builds a bridge between your heart and your language. It teaches you that English isn't just a set of rules. It's a way to express who you are. You don't need to memorize 10 new words every day. You just need to live one word deeply. If that word is happy, then use it today. Say, "I'm happy," when something good happens. If that word is tired, use it when your body feels heavy. When words meet emotions, they never leave. The next time you open a textbook, don't just read it, act it. Don't just memorize, "I'm going to the store." Actually say it while walking to the store. When you live a sentence, your brain saves it as a memory, not a rule. And once it becomes a memory, you'll never forget it again. So let's make this practical. This week, choose 7 small actions you do every day. For each one, pick one English sentence, then use it every time you do that action. That's your 7-day fluency routine. For example, day 1, I'm brushing my teeth. Day 2, I'm eating breakfast. Day 3, I'm leaving home. Day 4, I'm working now. Day 5, I'm resting. Day 6, I'm cleaning my room. Day 7, I'm going to sleep. Say them out loud every time. Don't skip. Don't correct. Just live them. By the end of the week, you'll notice a quiet transformation. Your mouth will start speaking before your mind starts worrying. English will begin to flow naturally through your day, not as a task, but as a habit. You'll stop saying, "I'm studying English," and start saying, "I live in English." Remember this always. Fluency is not a memory game. It's a lifestyle. You don't build it by studying harder. You build it by living smarter. Every word you speak in real life becomes part of you. Every sentence you say with emotion becomes permanent. Every phrase you connect with action becomes automatic. Stop memorizing, start living, feel every word, speak it as you live it. Because fluency is not what you know, it's what you live. Step 6. Train your mouth, not just your mind. When most people try to improve their English, they start in the mind. They study grammar rules, memorize vocabulary lists, and repeat textbook dialogues. But when it's time to speak, they hesitate. Their thoughts are full of words, yet their mouth refuses to move. Why? Because speaking English isn't only a mental skill, it's a physical one. You don't just think English, you perform it. Your lips, tongue, breath, and voice all have to move together. That's why this step is called mouth training. It's not about learning more information. It's about training your body to express what your brain already knows. Think of it like singing. You can't learn to sing just by reading music notes. You have to open your mouth, breathe from your chest, and feel the vibration of sound. Or think of it like dancing. You can't learn to dance by watching videos. Your body must move, repeat, and remember the rhythm. Or like playing a guitar, reading about chords won't help until your fingers touch the strings. Speaking English is exactly the same. You can't just understand it in your head. You have to feel it in your mouth. Many learners say, "I understand English perfectly, but I can't speak it." That's because their mouth hasn't practiced enough. The brain knows the words, but the mouth doesn't remember the movement. Speaking fluently means your muscles, not just your memory, know what to do. Every sound in English has its own rhythm, shape, and emotion. When your mouth learns those patterns, English starts to flow naturally. So how do you train your mouth? Start small. Choose a few short, emotional sentences that you can say every day. For example, I'm learning English every day. I'm proud of myself. I'm feeling strong today. I'm doing my best. These are not random phrases. They're simple, powerful, and emotional. The perfect combination for training both your voice and your confidence. Say each sentence slowly. Move your mouth fully. Feel every syllable. Imagine the words coming alive as you speak them. When you first start, exaggerate the sounds a little. Open your mouth wider. Stretch the vowels. Feel your lips and tongue move. You're not just practicing pronunciation, you're teaching your muscles to speak English easily. This is what I call mouth memory. The more you say something out loud, the easier it becomes to say it again later. Just like a dancer who repeats the same steps until the movement feels natural, your mouth needs repetition to learn flow and rhythm. Let's try it right now. Take the sentence. I'm learning English every day. First, say it slowly. I am learning English every day. Focus on how your lips and tongue move. Then say it normally. I'm learning English every day. Finally, say it fast, with energy and emotion. I'm learning English every day. That's called the slow, normal, fast method. It's one of the best exercises for building fluency rhythm. It teaches your mouth to adapt to different speeds, just like warming up your voice before singing. You can do this with any phrase you like. For example, slow, I am proud of myself. Normal, I'm proud of myself. Fast and emotional, I'm proud of myself. When you say it fast, smile. Use your hands. Move your body. Add life to the words. Because fluency isn't just about accuracy, it's about energy. Your body language and voice tone create emotional connection. And when you express emotion, your fear disappears. Here's another exercise. Pick 5 sentences that you love. Write them down on paper. Say each one 5 times. First slow, then normal, then fast. That's your daily mouth training routine. It takes less than 5 minutes, but it will change how you sound. After a week, your voice will feel stronger. After a month, you'll notice that words come out more easily. That's not luck. That's training. When you do these exercises, don't whisper. Speak clearly, out loud. Whispering keeps your muscles lazy. You need to feel the air move, the vibration in your throat. That's what builds strength and clarity. Also, don't worry about being perfect. This isn't a pronunciation exam. This is performance practice. Even singers make mistakes during rehearsal. That's how they improve. Your goal is not to sound like a native speaker. Your goal is to sound like yourself, but confident. Let's make it more fun. Do your mouth training in front of a mirror. Watch how your face moves. Smile when you speak. Lift your chin. Make eye contact with yourself. This might feel strange at first, but it builds a powerful connection between your voice and your presence. You'll learn to express emotion, confidence, and rhythm, all essential parts of real communication. Every time you see your reflection speaking English, your brain begins to believe, yes, this is me. I can do this. The beauty of mouth training is that it's practical. You can do it anywhere, while walking, cooking, driving, or cleaning. No books, no lessons, no pressure. Just your voice, your breath, and your commitment. When you practice consistently, even short sentences become part of your natural speech. I'm ready. I can do this. I'm improving. These phrases become automatic responses, small bursts of fluency that show your brain you're capable. You'll also notice that pronunciation becomes easier over time. That's because repetition rewires your motor memory. Your tongue begins to remember how to move between sounds. Your jaw learns how to shape vowels. Your voice learns how to rise and fall naturally. This is why children sound fluent so fast. They don't study pronunciation. They repeat it hundreds of times until it feels right. You can do the same. If you want to take it further, combine emotion with repetition. When you say, I'm proud of myself, don't just say it, feel proud. When you say, I'm learning English every day, smile. When you say, I can do this, say it like you mean it. Your emotion sends a powerful message to your brain. This matters. And the brain always remembers what feels important. Over time, mouth training changes your relationship with English. You'll stop hesitating. You'll stop second-guessing yourself. You'll stop worrying about how you sound. Instead, you'll speak naturally, with rhythm and confidence. You'll notice that even difficult words start flowing easily because your mouth is used to moving in English patterns. That's when you realize fluency isn't only about knowledge, it's about coordination, energy, and repetition. Here's a simple plan you can start today. Choose 5 short emotional sentences. Say each one 5 times using the slow, normal, fast method. Do this once in the morning and once at night. It takes less than 10 minutes. If you stay consistent, you'll feel results in just 1 week. Record yourself once on day 1 and again on day 7. You'll hear your progress. Your voice will sound clearer, smoother, and more confident. That sound is the sound of courage growing inside you. Remember, your mouth is your instrument. You can't play music by thinking about it. You have to make sound. Don't hide behind silence. Speak out loud. Stretch your voice. Feel the rhythm. Train your mouth every day, and it will reward you with fluency that feels effortless and real. Because grammar builds knowledge, mouth training builds courage. Step 7. Transform mistakes into power. From the moment we were children, most of us were taught one dangerous idea: mistakes are bad. At school, every red mark on the paper meant failure. Every wrong answer meant disappointment. We learned to associate mistakes with shame, embarrassment, and punishment. So now, as adults, when we speak English and make a mistake, those old emotions return instantly. Our heart beats faster, our mind screams, "Don't say it unless it's perfect," and we freeze. But here's the truth. This belief is not natural. It's learned. And what's learned can be unlearned. In this step, we will break that old rule and replace it with a new one that will set you free. From now on, remember this: fluency equals freedom to make mistakes. The more you speak, the more you'll make mistakes. And the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll grow. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Because every fluent person you've ever admired, every teacher, speaker, YouTuber, or native English friend has made thousands of mistakes. The only difference between them and those who stay silent is this: they didn't stop when they were wrong. They learned, they laughed, and they kept going. Let's look at the world honestly. Native speakers, yes, even them, make mistakes every single day. They say things like "he don't" instead of "he doesn't." They forget words mid-sentence. They mix up tenses, repeat phrases, and mispronounce names. But here's the thing: they don't stop talking because of it. They keep communicating. Why? Because their brain is free from fear. They know communication matters more than correctness. They understand that being human means being imperfect, and that's okay. Imagine if a child stopped learning to walk because they fell a few times. That sounds silly, right? But that's exactly what we do with English. We stumble once or twice and say, "I can't do this." But falling isn't failing. It's training. Every mistake is your muscle learning a new movement. Every wrong word is your brain rewiring itself for success. Without mistakes, there is no mastery. Here's a new way to think about it. Mistakes are not proof of weakness. They are proof of effort. Every time you make one, it means you're doing something brave, something millions of learners never do. You're trying. Trying is not failing. Trying is progress in motion. The only true failure is silence. Silence stops growth. Mistakes push it forward. Let me tell you about a learner named Paolo. He used to avoid speaking English because he hated making errors. He would rehearse sentences for hours before every conversation. But the moment he forgot one word, his confidence collapsed. One day I asked him to start something called a mistake journal. I told him to write down every mistake he made each day, not to fix them, but to celebrate them. He looked confused at first, but after a week, something changed. His journal was full of sentences like, "I said I goed instead of I went," "I forgot the word for neighbor," or "I mixed up few and a few." I asked him how he felt reading them. He smiled and said, "I feel proud. It means I spoke." That's the magic of this method. The moment you start treating mistakes as achievements, fear loses power. Your brain begins to associate speaking with freedom, not danger. You start thinking, "I made a mistake today. That means I practiced." The mistake journal is not a book of errors. It's a record of courage. Every line you write is a victory against fear. Try this yourself. Keep a small notebook or use your phone. Each day, after you speak or practice, write down 3 mistakes you made. Next to each one, write what you learned from it. Then, at the bottom, add a positive note. I'm proud of my mistakes because they prove I'm trying. If you do this for 7 days, something amazing happens. You stop hiding your imperfections. You start feeling proud of your effort. You stop punishing yourself for being human. Here's what this practice does scientifically. It rewires your brain's emotional response. Instead of releasing fear when you make a mistake, your brain begins to release curiosity and pride. You replace shame with learning. You create safety in your mind. And that emotional shift is what allows true fluency to grow. You can even make it playful. Every time you catch yourself making a mistake, smile and say, "Good. That's one more step forward." Or if you're talking with a friend and they correct you, say, "Thank you. I just learned something new." These small reactions turn fear into power. They turn correction into connection. You see, perfectionism kills progress. When you try to sound flawless, you block your natural rhythm. You speak slower, you overthink, and your sentences lose life. But when you allow mistakes, your voice becomes free. You start to focus on meaning, not mechanics. You start enjoying the conversation instead of performing it. And when you enjoy something, you automatically get better at it. Here's a secret that fluent speakers know. They don't wait for perfection. They speak through imperfection. Every conversation is practice. Every wrong word is a teacher. Every correction is a gift. They don't run away from mistakes, they invite them, because they know that every mistake today builds tomorrow's fluency. So, I want you to change one small habit starting today. When you speak and make a mistake, instead of saying, "I'm bad at English," say, "I'm getting better because I tried." Instead of thinking, "I embarrassed myself," think, "I was brave enough to speak." Instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I learned." Because words shape your emotions, and your emotions shape your confidence. Speak kindly to yourself. Your brain is always listening. If you want, you can even read your mistake journal out loud once a week. Say each sentence, laugh at it, and celebrate it. This simple ritual reminds you that progress is not about being perfect. It's about being present. You'll start to see your journey as something beautiful. Messy, yes, but beautiful. Remember, the people you admire didn't become fluent because they avoided mistakes. They became fluent because they made more of them than anyone else. The difference between a confident speaker and a fearful learner is not skill. It's mindset. One sees mistakes as failure, the other sees them as freedom. Choose freedom. You have permission to make every mistake you need to make. You have permission to sound imperfect. You have permission to stumble, forget, laugh, and start again. Because that's what growth looks like. That's what learning feels like. Every time you make a mistake, you are not stepping backward. You're stepping forward. You're proving that you care enough to try. And that is something to be proud of. So from today, let this be your new mantra. I'm proud of my mistakes. They prove I'm trying. Say it until you believe it. Say it until the fear fades. Because when you stop hiding from mistakes, you stop hiding from yourself. Perfection blocks progress. Mistakes open the door. Step 8. Eye contact and emotional safety. There's a moment every English learner knows too well. You finally gather the courage to speak. You open your mouth, and then someone looks directly into your eyes. Suddenly, everything disappears. The words vanish, your mind goes blank, and your confidence crumbles. You look away, you forget your sentence, and a heavy silence takes over. It feels like your whole body shuts down just because someone was looking at you. Why does that happen? Why does a simple gaze feel so powerful, so intimidating? It's because eye contact is not just about looking, it's about being seen. And being seen can feel scary. When someone looks into your eyes, it feels like they can see your thoughts, your insecurities, your imperfections. It feels as if their gaze could expose everything you're trying to hide. Your accent, your mistakes, your nervousness. But here's the truth. They're not judging you. They're just connecting with you. The fear you feel is not about the other person. It's about an old emotional wound, the fear of being judged, corrected, or rejected. When you were younger, maybe you were teased for mispronouncing a word. Maybe someone laughed when you spoke English in class. Maybe you felt invisible in a conversation, ignored because you weren't fluent enough. Those small experiences created a belief deep inside you that being looked at while speaking means danger. That belief still lives in your nervous system. So, when someone makes eye contact, your brain interprets it as a threat. It activates your amygdala, the same part of your brain that reacts when you're in real physical danger. Your body tenses, your heart rate increases, your voice tightens. You don't forget English. Your body simply enters protection mode. But the truth is, you are safe. You're not in danger. You're just being seen. That's what emotional safety is all about. Teaching your brain to feel calm while being visible. When you feel safe, your mind opens, your breath deepens, and your words flow naturally. When you feel unsafe, your brain shuts down to protect you. So, before we talk about improving communication, we must first rebuild emotional safety in the simplest but most powerful place: your eyes. Let's start with mirror practice. This might sound familiar because you've already used the mirror for self-talk, but now we'll use it for emotional safety. Stand in front of the mirror and look directly into your eyes. Don't analyze your face. Don't judge yourself. Just look. Notice what you feel. Maybe you feel uncomfortable at first. Maybe you want to look away. That's okay. Just stay with it. Breathe deeply. Then, say something kind to yourself. You are doing well. You are learning. You are growing. Smile, even just a little. The goal is not to act confident. It's to feel safe being seen by your own reflection. Do this every day for a few seconds longer. The more you practice, the more your brain learns that looking and being looked at is not dangerous. This is called desensitization, gentle exposure that rewires your emotional response. You start building tolerance, and then comfort, and finally, confidence. You're training your nervous system to stay calm while being visible. Once you're comfortable with yourself, start practicing with others. But choose kind faces first. Talk to friends, family, or people who make you feel relaxed. Avoid starting with strangers or large groups. When you speak, use what I call inclusive eye contact. Inclusive eye contact means connection, not control. It's warm, open, and gentle, like you're inviting someone into your words. Many people think confidence means staring directly into someone's eyes without blinking. That's not confidence. That's intimidation. Real confidence feels kind, not cold. It says, I see you, and I trust that you see me. When you use inclusive eye contact, you're creating emotional safety for yourself and for the listener. You're saying, we're having a conversation, not a competition. Here's how you can practice inclusive eye contact. Use the 3-second rule. When you talk to someone, look into their eyes for about 2 to 3 seconds. Then, look away naturally, maybe at your hands, the floor, or something nearby, for a moment. Then, return to eye contact. This rhythm feels natural, both for you and the listener. It prevents your brain from feeling overwhelmed, and it keeps the conversation relaxed. If you're in a group or speaking to an audience, move your eyes gently from one person to another every few seconds. Think of it like sharing warmth, not scanning, not staring. You're connecting, not controlling. And when you listen to someone else, keep soft, steady eye contact. Nod occasionally. Smile slightly. This tells your brain, I belong here. I can hold this space calmly. Here's a simple exercise you can try anywhere. Watch an English video, maybe a podcast, an interview, or even a speech. Focus on the speaker's eyes for a few seconds at a time. Notice how calm or expressive they are. Notice that their eye contact feels natural, not forced. This helps your brain model what emotional comfort looks like during communication. Now, I want to tell you something important. The moment you avoid eye contact because of fear, you teach your brain that being seen is dangerous. But the moment you hold eye contact, even for 1 second longer, you teach your brain that being seen is safe. Every second counts. Every second is a small victory. Each time you look at someone and keep speaking, you're breaking an old pattern. You're rewriting your story. From, I'm afraid to be judged, to I'm comfortable being seen. And here's a truth most people forget. You are not being judged. You are being seen. When someone listens to you, they're not examining your accent or your grammar. They're connecting with your energy. They're watching your confidence, your emotion, your humanity. They're seeing you. People don't remember perfect sentences. They remember how you made them feel. When your eyes show sincerity, kindness, and warmth, your words don't have to be perfect. Connection will do the work for you. I once coached a student named Layla who avoided eye contact completely. She said, when someone looks at me, I forget everything. So, we started small. She practiced mirror gazing for 10 seconds a day. Then, she practiced the 3-second rule with her brother. Slowly, she extended it to conversations with friends. After a few weeks, she said something beautiful. Now, when someone looks into my eyes, I feel calm, like we're sharing a moment, not fighting one. That's what emotional safety does. It turns fear into connection. You can begin today. Stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes. Say, I see you, I trust you, you are safe. Then, in your next English conversation, try the 3-second rule. Don't force it, just flow. When fear appears, breathe, smile. Remember, this is not about performance. It's about presence. The goal isn't to look confident. The goal is to feel safe. Because once your eyes feel safe, your words will follow. Your voice will sound clearer. Your thoughts will flow faster. Your English will sound more alive. You'll stop worrying about judgment and start feeling connection. You'll stop hiding and start shining. Eye contact is not about power. It's about peace. When your eyes feel safe, your heart feels open. And when your heart is open, your English flows with truth and warmth. That's when you realize something profound. Fluency isn't just about speaking. It's about allowing yourself to be seen. When your eyes feel safe, your voice becomes strong. Step 9. Choose clarity over complexity. One of the biggest myths in language learning is this: the more complicated your words, the better your English. So many learners fall into this trap. They think, if I use big vocabulary, people will think I'm smart. They try to sound advanced, sophisticated, impressive, but what actually happens? They freeze. They overthink. Their sentences become heavy, their message becomes unclear, and their confidence disappears. The truth is, complex English does not make you a better communicator. Clear English does. Clarity is not simple-mindedness, it's mastery. It's the ability to express something deep in a way that anyone can understand. Great speakers, whether they are presidents, poets, or teachers, all have one thing in common. They speak simply, so their message goes straight to the heart. When you focus on big words, you build walls. When you focus on clarity, you build bridges. Let's dismantle this myth right now. Many learners think that using complex vocabulary makes them sound fluent. But fluency isn't about impressing others. It's about connecting with them. You don't need to sound like a dictionary to be understood. You just need to sound like yourself. Let's compare two sentences. I'm experiencing a mild level of fatigue due to insufficient rest. I'm tired. Which one is better? The first sounds like a medical report. The second sounds human. The second builds connection. It's the kind of sentence people actually use in real life. Simplicity isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Here's another one. I would appreciate it if you could provide clarification regarding the aforementioned topic. Or simply, can you explain that again, please? The first creates distance. The second creates understanding. Fluency is not about showing off your vocabulary. It's about making your message flow naturally and sincerely. Think about the people who inspire you most. Speakers, mentors, leaders. Do they use complicated words every second? Or do they speak in a way that feels warm, natural, and easy to follow? True fluency is not about complexity. It's about clarity, connection, and confidence. The simpler your language, the faster your brain works, and the calmer your body feels. When you try to sound smart, your brain goes into overdrive. You start searching for big words, double-checking grammar, and judging every sentence. This mental overload creates hesitation. But when you speak clearly and simply, your brain relaxes. The words flow easily. Your message feels authentic. You stop trying to sound good and start trying to be understood. And that's when fluency happens. Many English learners say, I don't want to sound like a beginner. But here's the truth. You can sound natural without sounding basic. Simple English, spoken clearly and confidently, is powerful. It shows control. It shows self-awareness. It shows emotional intelligence. You don't need fancy words to make people listen. You just need honest ones. Let's take a few examples side by side to show how clarity transforms communication. Instead of, I wish to engage in a leisurely outdoor stroll, say, I want to go for a walk. Instead of, I was unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances, say, I couldn't come because something unexpected happened. Instead of, Your assistance would be greatly appreciated in this regard. Say, can you help me with this? Instead of, my sincere apologies for the inconvenience caused, say, I'm sorry for the trouble. In every pair, the second version is shorter, warmer, and more real. You don't lose meaning by simplifying. You gain honesty. You give your listener space to connect. Here's a truth most fluent speakers understand. Communication is not a performance. It's a relationship. Your goal isn't to impress. Your goal is to express. When you speak clearly, people don't think about your English. They think about you. They hear your emotion, your message, your authenticity. And that's what builds trust. Clarity also brings calm. When your sentences are short, your breathing stays steady. You stop rushing. You stop worrying about grammar in the middle of a conversation. Instead of trying to sound perfect, you sound peaceful. You give yourself permission to speak naturally, without fear. The simpler your sentences, the more confident your voice becomes. Here's another way to understand it. Complicated language hides fear. Clear language reveals confidence. When you use big words, it's often because you want to protect yourself. You want people to see your knowledge instead of your vulnerability. But when you speak simply, you're saying, I trust myself. I don't need to hide behind words. That's real confidence. Try this exercise. Record yourself talking for 1 minute about your day. Don't plan anything. Just speak. Then listen to it and notice where your sentences feel heavy or complicated. Rewrite them in simpler words, the kind you'd use with a close friend. Then record it again. You'll feel the difference immediately. Your second version will sound clearer, calmer, and more alive. That's the version you want to take into real conversations. Another tip: stop translating from your native language. Many learners try to translate complex ideas directly, which creates long, confusing sentences. Instead, think in images and feelings. Describe what you see, what you feel, what you mean, not what you think sounds smart. For example, instead of translating a formal expression like, I am overwhelmed by the magnitude of this experience, simply say, I can't believe this is happening. I'm so happy. Speak from your heart, not your dictionary. You'll also find that people respond better when you speak simply. They'll smile more. They'll listen more carefully. They'll feel at ease around you because your words don't create pressure. This is what communication is truly about. Creating a shared emotional space where both people feel comfortable. I remember a student named May who used to overcomplicate everything. She wanted to sound professional, so she spoke like a business manual. Her sentences were long, her tone was tense, and her eyes showed fear. I asked her to try something different. I told her to speak like she was talking to a friend, using only short, clear sentences. At first, she said, "But that sounds too simple." I told her to trust the process. 2 weeks later, she came back smiling. "I had a conversation at work," she said, "and they understood me perfectly. For the first time, I felt relaxed." That's the power of clarity. It's not just about words, it's about freedom. So, here's your new rule. If a sentence makes you feel tense, shorten it. If a word makes you hesitate, replace it. If a phrase doesn't sound natural, simplify it. Your goal is not to sound advanced. Your goal is to sound alive. Remember, the best English is the English that flows from your heart to another person's heart. without fear in between. Let's say it together. My English doesn't need to be complicated to be powerful. My voice is clear. My words are simple, and my message is strong. Language is not about how much you know, it's about how well you connect. Simplicity is not a step backward, it's the highest form of fluency. When you stop chasing complexity, you finally find confidence. Don't complicate, communicate. Conclusion: speak with freedom, not fear. You've come a long way. From the quiet fear that once stopped your voice to the growing confidence that now lives in your words, this journey has been more than just about learning English. It's been about rediscovering yourself. You started with fear, moved through courage, built confidence, and found clarity. What began as a language lesson became a transformation of your heart. You've learned that English isn't just something you study, it's something you live, something you feel, something that becomes part of who you are. In the beginning, fear felt like an enemy. It made your chest tight, your voice shaky, and your mind blank. But now you understand that fear was never there to hurt you. It was just a signal, your brain trying to protect you from the unknown. When you faced it, it lost its power. When you named it, it softened. When you spoke through it, it transformed into courage. That's the first great victory of your journey. You stopped running from fear and started walking beside it. Then came courage, not loud, not dramatic, but quiet and steady. You learned that courage doesn't mean speaking without fear. It means speaking despite fear. It's waking up and saying, "Today, I'll try again." It's choosing to say one more sentence, to record one more voice note, to talk to one more person, even when your heart races. Courage became your daily practice, and through that practice, your confidence was born. Confidence didn't come from grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It came from connection, from talking to yourself, to your mirror, to your pet, to your safe zone. You discovered that confidence is not about sounding perfect, but about feeling safe in your own voice. You built your fluency through repetition, through mouth training, through small daily actions that rewired your brain. You learned to celebrate mistakes, to see them not as proof of weakness but as proof of progress. You realized that every wrong word was still a word spoken, and that alone made you stronger. And then, clarity, the final stage of this journey. You stopped chasing big words and started choosing honest ones. You learned that fluency isn't about sounding impressive. It's about being understood. You began to speak with simplicity, warmth, and presence. You stopped performing English and started living it. You stopped trying to sound like someone else and started sounding like yourself. That's the true goal of fluency. Not imitation, but expression. Not perfection, but connection. So now, as we reach the end of this path, I want you to see yourself differently. You are not just an English student. You are a communicator. You are a connector. You are a storyteller. You are not learning to speak. You are already speaking. Every time you open your mouth, every time you think in English, every time you push through that small hesitation, you are proving something powerful. You are a speaker, not tomorrow, not when you're fluent. Right now. Say that to yourself. I am not a student. I am a speaker. You've earned that truth. But this journey doesn't end here. It continues with you. Because confidence is not a one-time achievement. It's a daily habit. Every day, speak something, even if you're afraid. especially if you're afraid. Fear will visit sometimes, but now you know what to do. You've learned to face it, name it, and move through it. You've learned that you don't need the perfect moment, or perfect grammar, or perfect courage. You just need to begin. Maybe tomorrow you'll talk to yourself while making breakfast. Maybe you'll record a short message in English. Maybe you'll chat with a friend, or read a paragraph aloud. Maybe you'll make 5 mistakes, or 50. But every time you speak, you grow. Every word is one step closer to freedom. Every sound is proof that your voice matters. So, don't wait for confidence to arrive before you speak. Speak, and confidence will come. Don't wait for fear to disappear before you begin. Begin, and fear will disappear. Fluency doesn't happen in a single breakthrough. It grows quietly, in daily choices, in small steps, in moments of honesty. It grows every time you speak, when silence feels easier. There will still be days when you feel stuck, days when you forget words, when you stumble, when you feel like you've gone backward. On those days, remember this: progress is not a straight line. It's a rhythm. Forward, pause, repeat. Every bad day is still part of your growth. Every hesitation still teaches your brain that you're trying. And trying is how you win. One day, you'll realize that you no longer think about English while you speak. You'll just talk. You'll laugh, share, and connect naturally. You'll forget to be afraid. That's when you'll know you've reached something greater than fluency. You've reached freedom. And that freedom doesn't just change your English, it changes your life. Because the confidence you build here spills into everything else: your career, your relationships, your dreams. When you stop being afraid to speak, you stop being afraid to be seen. You stop hiding your thoughts, your stories, your truth. You begin to take up space, proudly, freely, unapologetically. Remember this always: fluency is not just about language. It's about liberation. It's about giving yourself permission to exist fully in another voice. And once you learn to speak freely in English, you begin to live freely everywhere else. You've done something extraordinary. You've faced fear. You've practiced courage. You've built confidence. You've found clarity. And now, you have something no book or teacher can give you: self-belief. That belief will carry you forward long after this lesson ends. So, as we close this journey, I want you to hear these words, not just with your mind, but with your heart. You don't need perfect English to be powerful. You just need your voice, your courage, and your heart. Speak English with freedom. The world is waiting to hear you. Take a deep breath. Feel your chest rise. Feel your words inside you, ready to be spoken. This is your time. You are ready. Go out there. Speak bravely. Speak honestly. And speak freely. Because the world doesn't need another perfect speaker. It needs